What's up everybody? My name's Trey and welcome to another video. And in this video, I'll be explaining how you can achieve the infamous perfect credit score in the year 2020. Now, personally, I didn't even own a credit card until about 3 years ago. And really, I didn't even try to increase my credit score until about last year. And yes, I know what you're thinking, so before you start ragging on me in the comment section, I did graduate top of my class from a 4-year university with a degree in financial planning. So I'm not completely ignorant when it comes to money or finance. However, the importance of a great credit score was just something that I wasn't taught in schools. College didn't even teach it to me. But before we get into my story and the step-by-step guide that you can take to getting a perfect credit score in the year 2020, I want to say hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. And with that being said, let's get into the intro. Now, currently my credit score is sitting at 746, which means I actually increased my credit score by over 150 points last year alone. So I would say that's not too shabby for somebody that didn't even own a credit card, not even 5 years ago. And if you stay to the end of the video, I'll actually show you the step-by-step method that I followed when it comes to increasing my score relatively quickly, with the end goal being capturing that infamous perfect credit score number. But before we actually get into what affects your credit score itself, I need you to pause this video and go look at what your credit score is currently. Yes, right now, pause the video, open a new tab, and find out what your credit score is. Currently, I would use websites like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame or even Wallet Hub. It really doesn't matter as long as you use a free site that's not going to negatively affect your credit score just because you want to look at it. Okay, do you have that number now? Well, let's hope so. Because once you actually know what that number is, you can set realistic goals when it comes to how you're going to increase that number. So with that being said, the first thing that I actually learned when it comes to increasing my credit score number are the different factors that actually affect my credit score. And to break that down, you can kind of think of this as baking a cake. Weird analogy, I know, but it'll make sense at the end, I promise. When it comes to baking a delicious and beautiful cake, you have to understand all your ingredients. You need to understand which ones you need, which ones you don't need, and how much of each one to actually put into your end product is beautiful and gorgeous. Now, thanks to that amazing analogy brought to you by, well, someone. I don't know where I heard it or where I saw it. I just know that I don't think I necessarily made it up, and I want to give credit where credit is due. So if you were the one to actually make up that analogy, big props to you, because I think it works well given this situation. Now, I hope it puts everything in perspective on how important each one of these different factors are when it comes to actually calculating your overall credit score number. And with that being said, there are 5 different factors that work together in computing your overall credit score. Now, understanding each one of these different factors makes it relatively easy to increase your credit score because you understand how the game is played. And if we look at my list brought to you by FICO Score, the first one that we actually have are total accounts. So for me, I'm in a very good standing and I actually have 3 overall accounts. But basically what this refers to is how many credit lines are actually open in your name. Because I only have 3, that's not necessarily amazing because I know other people that have way more than 3. If you think about it, people have credit cards and car loans and mortgages and student loans. Obviously, other people have a lot more open than I do, but as long as you have at least one, it's positively affecting your score. And given the fact that it only affects 10%, it's not necessarily going to kill you if you don't have a huge amount, but you want to shoot for something around the 3 account range. Next, we actually have length of credit. And as you see, mine says fair. I've only had credit for about 2 years and 11 months apparently, which is a relatively short period of time. but it's not like I can increase it or anything, so I guess I'm stuck with the number that I have. Now, if you are a parent, listen to me extremely closely because you can set your child up on the right foot when it comes to their actual credit score number. Now, if you have credit cards, you can actually sign your minor children up to be authorized users of those cards. That means it'll start growing their credit score number, even though they don't actually have any access to your banking information or anything like that. That could be really important for them because when they turn 18 or 21, they'll be able to go out into the world with really good credit. Now, if you're not necessarily comfortable with that, another thing that I would recommend would be retail credit cards. Two that come to mind would be Target and Walmart because they both literally sell everything and they give a really high cashback rewards program, which is really important when you're looking at credit cards as well. This also only affects about 15% of your overall score, so it's not necessarily too high. And like I said, it's not really anything that you can affect in the long run anyway, so it kind of is what it is. The next one on our list are increase. You see mine is exceptional because I've had no increase in the last 12 months. Essentially, what this is referring to is how many lenders have ran a hard credit report check on you. This essentially only refers to how many times you're actually seeking credit. So it means that you're actually being active with the credit that you already have. Now, you want to keep this score relatively low because if you're applying for loans every single week, lenders are going to start getting suspicious and stop approving you simply because it doesn't make sense why you would apply for so many loans. Now, it does only take up 10%, so it doesn't affect your credit score necessarily that much in the grand scheme of things, but just don't try to apply for too many loans or too many enormous credit cards because it does affect your score. Next, we actually have revolving utilization. As you see, mine is very good, and my score is about 25%. Now, for a lot of people, this confuses them, and I completely understand because what it basically refers to is how much of your overall credit line are you actually using. With that being said, an example would be if your credit line's $1,000 and you use $500 every single month, your utilization number would be 50%. Now, what I like to do is remind myself that you don't want a utilization number over 30%. And how I do that is by looking and seeing that it affects your score by 30%. And this is because the higher your utilization number is, the more at risk companies are who are lending you money. The smaller it is, the less likely they are to take a huge loss if you miss a payment or anything like that. Now, the final factor that we actually have to consider when it comes to increasing your overall credit score number, missed payments. Now, you see that mine is exceptional because I've never missed a payment before. And when we're talking about missed payments, we're essentially talking about your payment history. And if we were a company that lended credit, we would have to look at everybody on a very individual basis, saying that if there was somebody who didn't repay the loans that they had currently, why would they ever repay the ones that we're giving out to them? And essentially, credit companies are there to make money, not to loan out money and not get it repaid. So this is why it's such a big impact on your overall credit score number at 35%. So this might be last on this list, but this should be the number one thing that you're focusing about when it comes to actually building your credit score number overall. Now, if you've made it this far in this video, I know I promised to go over my step-by-step guide in which I used to actually increase my score more than 150 points in just the last year alone. So let's get into that now. So what I did first, before I had any credit or anything like that, is I applied for 2 specific credit cards. One would be a Discover card, and I'll actually leave a link down in the description below because if you apply and you get approved, you'll get a free $50. And who doesn't like free money? Because I know that I do. And the second one is a Barclay card. This is a little bit weird for my situation because Barclay is essentially the credit card for Apple. And well, I don't own any Apple products. I'm actually Team Android 100%, baby. So leave a comment down below and tell me, are you Team Apple or Team Android? Because you know where I stand. Now, after I was approved for both of these cards, I put everything, and I mean everything, on my Barclay card. Gas, clothes, food, anything that I bought, I used my Barclay card. And then at the end of the month, I would transfer that balance over to my Discover card. So it made it look like I've never had credit before and I transitioned to using credit all the time. And that is essentially what happened, but I was just buying the exact same things, but instead of using cash or my debit card, I just put them on my credit card now. I did this every single month, and what happened was I was asking for credit increases essentially every other month, because when you start with no credit, your limit isn't very high. I think I started with a limit that might have been $200 or something like that. So every couple months I was asking for increases, and that also helped my credit score out because I was making my payments on time and I never missed them. Another thing that I would recommend is actually setting up automatic payments, because you never want to miss one of your payments because you just simply forgot or anything like that. Now, I'm not saying that you only have to use 2 credit cards. You can use however many you want. I just recommend using an amount that you will actually remember that you have. Don't go out and get 10 different credit cards and forget about 8 of them, so you're missing payments every single month, because they will build up interest and it will destroy your credit score. Yeah, I know. It's as simple as that. Get credit cards, use them, pay them off. Essentially all I did, and it skyrocketed my credit score. And with that being said, if you're new to the channel, I basically make videos about how you can make money online, build separate streams of income. And I'm also going to be making some more videos about the best credit cards to get and what you can actually do once you increase your credit score. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.